Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt. Ammunition review today, a new caliber that we haven't done too much of because there simply isn't a lot of ammunition that exists. This is from our friends at Fort Scott Munitions. In full transparency, I purchased some of this from them to do a review on, so you guys had content to consume. This is their 285 grain solid copper spun TUI round in 8.6 Blackout. Let's throw this guy on the table and talk about what we're going to do today. We have 3 barrel lengths for our 8.6 Black, our 8, 12, and 16. All 3 are Faxon barrels. We built them on some PSA uppers and lowers. After we've collected our velocity and ensured bullet stability, we'll throw the can on these and see what they sound like suppressed. Although I don't have my 8.6 pork chop in from Q yet, we're going to throw a Yankee Hill R9 on there just to see what they sound like. We'll see what our practical accuracy is like at 100 yards, and we'll actually throw some of this in gel to see what it can do. We'll start with our shortest barrel length. This is our 8-inch build, 1 3 twist Faxon barrel. There are a couple manufacturers now who make barrels with some slower twist rates, but the Faxon 1 3 was first. Now, if you guys know anything about bullet stability and suppressors, is you always want to make sure these bullets stabilize in your gun before you throw a can on there. So we're checking to make sure these bullets stay subsonic, because with our 1 3 twist barrel length, if you use any lead core rounds with a jacket and you go supersonic, you can actually spin the bullet apart as it leaves the barrel. These are copper solids, so they shouldn't have that problem, but they're supposed to be subsonic. So we're going to check 5 before we throw the can on there. Now, this build does have an adjustable gas block on it, so if we're not getting any cycling after we throw a can on there, we can give the system some more gas for better cycling. We are very close to that supersonic line. We can only gain about another 80 feet per second, so we'll see what the 12-inch has to offer. And now on to our 12-inch, another Faxon barrel, 1 3. Uh-oh, we are almost supersonic there, folks. Looks like we're right around 1050. Our holes are still nice and perfect, so we're getting good stabilization out of this round. Let's see if we go super with the 16. And now for our 16-inch barrel, again, another Faxon barrel, PSA parts otherwise. This 16-inch does not have an adjustable gas block on it. Did not get lock back on those. Now, we are right at that cusp of being supersonic. If I were Fort Scott Munitions, I would possibly dial this load back. Maybe 1/10 of a grain is all. Now, when it gets warmer outside, that could cause additional velocity too. So they may need a little more load development on this. But ideally, this cartridge was designed for our shorter barrel lengths, and the 16 is kind of like the 300 Blackout 16. It's kind of like, why is it there? But it exists. We've got a Yankee Hill R9 up front. Let's see if this gives us a little more gas for cycling. Nice. We got lock back and perfect cycling on that. Like I said, this does have an adjustable gas block on it, so if I was still not getting proper cycling, I could give the system a little more gas, but you won't want to give it too much gas because then you get blowback in the face and you cry. Now onto the 12-inch suppressed. Perfect function that time as well. So that one you can hear that extra crack in there because it went supersonic. But that one was a little duller, and that was 1082. So you can definitely hear that difference between supersonic and subsonic with this barrel. Well, ladies and gents, here is our 285 grain tumble upon impact solid copper spun from Fort Scott Munitions at 100 yards. This was the 8-inch, 2.619 inches with the Yankee Hill R9. This was our 12-inch, 1.235 inches. It's about 70 degrees outside today. There is some wind, but I'm not sure how that affects this particular bullet being as long as it is, but it is subsonic, so maybe there is some drift there. I only have a 6x optic on here, but I can see my point of hold right here pretty well when I'm aiming here. So that just could be what you could expect in an AR. I don't have a bolt gun in 8.6, which is where I probably could see an increase in accuracy, maybe due to how the bullet feeds into the chamber. But that's why I always say your mileage may vary. You certainly probably can shoot better than me. All right, ladies and gents, I have some spare clear ballistics gel. This is the 10% FBI spec, 6x6x16. We'll take a shot from the 8-inch because it will be subsonic. Now, given the ultra fast twist rates of these guns, typically the rounds that are designed to expand are going to turn and the petals are going to open up and make some very nice wide wound cavities. But this is a tumbling round, meaning that it's going to tumble end over end. So I have a lot of blocks down there because in the past when I've tested rounds like this, they tend to penetrate more than 16 inches. So I've got 3 backup blocks to try to catch this guy. Well, ladies and gents, this round is going to be a king of penetration. The entire 16 inches of the first block straight through. Then about 5 to 6 inches into the second block. So, you're looking at about 21 inches. Here is our first tumble that you see right here. Then what happens is that we traverse upwards. This is that mark right there. This was a fresh block. Then it just keeps getting even more interesting. So we're at 32 plus inches of penetration. We leave the block. It's hard to see. We shot some 4.6 on the same day, but this line right here is more of that round. So that is 32, 40 plus inches of penetration, and the bullet kept going. No way to even get a hold of that bullet. So if you're looking for a solid that's going to penetrate very, very deeply, this is going to be your huckleberry. I'm not sure where that second tumble would have occurred, and it maybe didn't occur very well because we're at the top of that block. Oh, I mean, it's in there. I think that bullet's just so long, but wow. Sorry I couldn't recover the bullet. There, as you can see, there is no deformation that's going to occur there. Tons and tons of penetration. Well, folks, that concludes another ammunition review out here at the range with our 8.6 Blackout. We had good subsonic velocities in all of our barrel lengths, except we started to go super in our 16-inch. So depending on your elevation or temperature, you may want to reserve this for our shorter barrel lengths. As far as accuracy goes, I always preface those portions with your mileage may vary, because my skill set isn't your skill set. Maybe my fax and barrel isn't the greatest compared to yours, or maybe you're using a different manufacturer barrel now that 8.6 Blackout is becoming a little more common. So if you've shot this load at range 100, 200 plus yards, drop me a comment below and tell us what your results have been with it. I like that we're getting more and more manufacturers to make brass. It's becoming available. I think it's right around $1 a piece right now, and it's probably going to come down the more and more manufacturers we get to make stuff for it. But that certainly for me saves time when I want to make some of these loads, that I'm not having to cut 6.5 Creedmoor brass down and turn the necks and do any of this. With our gel results, I was kind of expecting to max out around 32 inches of penetration, but for whatever reason, these very, very long bullets, when they start tumbling, they become very unpredictable in their pass, at least when it comes to clear gel. Again, if anyone has used these in a hunting application against our hogs or our larger animals abroad, let us know your comments below on how this load is doing. With all that being said, it's time for me to get the heck out of here, but at the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible, because there's a lot that goes into them. Number one is my Patreon and Subscribe Star fans. I have a link tree in the description below, various different ways to contact me or support me. I post a lot of pictures and really short videos to Instagram at times, or if you got a question, sending me a DM is the easiest way to get a hold of me, because a lot of times YouTube doesn't notify me of comments, especially follow-up ones. Or there's always the old school email. Number two is Fort Scott Munitions, who in full transparency sold me these rounds at a discount so I could provide you guys with a review on it. And of course, number three is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range.